Hello, everyone. This is my first YouTube piece, and this is about, my perspective of a lot of this stuff about Goku and Superman. Right now, I want to talk about Superman because I have a lot of thoughts about how people present their case regarding this Goku stuff. And I have a lot to say about that, but I'm not going to talk about it. I'm just going to talk about some things that should be corrected about how Superman is being written. Now, I can count on my fingers the number of stories that Superman has been given that reflects not only his character and his integrity and his upbringing, but his passion. And not only that, but showing something different, and that's All-Star Superman. I really can't think of anything else but that, and maybe A Man of Tomorrow, and Superman, is it Superman 1 Million? Or something of that nature. Now, as you see, you have the Public Enemy here with Batman and Superman together and everything, and we also know that there was a book this is based on. And this is actually done pretty well, exactly how the book was written. But let's talk about how Superman has been written over the years. Long ago, Superman was created by Joe Shuster and Siegel. And throughout their time creating him, they were having hard times challenging him to villains and stuff like that. So new writers came in and they started to depower him and take away stuff. Now, the new Superman that they have now, him drinking and all that stuff, it's stupid. It's dumb. I don't understand why these same writers who have also written Batman, how they can take Batman and bring out this guy in such a way that he's just like the character of all characters. I mean, from Frank Miller to Morrison and just a number of others. I think Frank Quigley quietly may have done something, but I know he did Superman. But just saying, all these writers, they can take Batman and they can create great and dynamic and powerful and awesome stories. Now, I said before that there is not much that you can say. I can count on my finger how many stories there are about Superman that really count. And it's pretty much, for me, maybe 3. All-Star Superman being a major point of it all. This new 52 kind of plays with it, but again, it's also a problem. Why is it that someone like Superman always has to have this edge or this temper or something about him that he doesn't think through everything? Why is he not smart? I mean, he's an investigative reporter, but the writers never take that and use to his advantage like they should. And he's a really good reporter, but they don't take that and make him use it to investigate and think through. The second point I have is that he's been around endless warriors. He's best friends with Batman. He's been friends with all his proteges, from Dick Grayson to Jason Todd to the new guys now. And not only them, but we're talking about Black Canary and all the Batwomen and all this stuff. Not only them, but Wonder Woman. He's been around Aquaman, all these people who can fight their tails off, martial arts and all that stuff. And he hasn't learned anything? There's nothing that he's learned? I mean, you actually have this guy going up against these people, seeing them fight every day. He has a fortress of solitude that has endless devices, endless creatures, and all these weapons and all this stuff. He has all this knowledge, but when it comes to actually showing it, writers completely void any concept of Superman having intellect. Now, I have a problem with that. Marvel has endless superpowered guys who are smart. Genius level. And someone who has that much energy in them from the sun would have an intellect that's just off the charts. I mean, Marvel did a piece with Tony Stark and Reed Richards, where Tony Stark was explaining all the situations with the extremists and what it allowed him to do to his device in his chest. And he pretty much told Reed Richards that he was channeling so much energy to his brain that it was ridiculous. And, you know, Reed Richards could only do was like, wow. And I've always kind of been bothered by them trying to make Reed Richards lesser the smart guy and showing Tony Stark to be more brilliant than he is. And it's frustrating because it's like, don't step on the toes of other characters. Reed Richards has always been the smartest guy. So don't go and make Tony Stark something that he's not. Tony Stark is smart, but he should be nowhere near what Reed Richards is. He just shouldn't. So when you go look at Superman, how can you be with someone all this time and have incidences with them, but you still stupid? It's the writer's fault. And this is one of the issues behind the writers with Superman and everybody's argument about Goku beating Superman. They always come up and say it's the writers. Which Superman are you going to have him fight? And I think that they need to really work on continuity better than what they have, because the continuity behind Superman is broken. And it doesn't make sense to have this guy not learn to beat Batman. A second thing is, I'm having trouble with the concept of Batman being able to beat Superman in anything anyway. I get that you got the kryptonite and all that stuff. But why does he always have to lose to the humanism of these characters? And that's exactly what it is. It's always he has to lose to the humanism of Batman. Batman having no powers, outthink him, and beat him down. And when you look at the Frank Miller story, it's really not a big deal. It's really not a big issue. Batman didn't really beat Superman in a sense that it was an all-out crushing. Because from what I remember, what I read, Superman wasn't really fighting back. He was ripping stuff up and like, look, cut it out, and that's about it. He let it go on. And this is another problem. Superman should be smarter than this by now. He should be way smarter than what he's showing right now. And that's to the problem of the writers today. The writers in DC who go back and forth to these comics, it's a problem. They like humanism. They like characters like Batman because they have endless stories to mess with. But when they look at Superman, they get stuck, or they don't like the concept of a man with such power and he can't kill, or he doesn't lose whatever. Injustice is such a stretch in a sense. Well, not necessarily, but I don't like the Injustice story because, again, it's all about Superman losing control. That's all they have. Either Superman is a good guy who fights and wins the day, but not by much, or he loses control and he's the villain now. Why didn't they ever do that for Batman? The closest they ever got for Batman was the Olmec situation and the Prometheus situation. That's the closest they've ever gotten for Batman. Or Al from the Syndicate, the Injustice, or the Syndicate group, whatever which way you want to look at it. That's the closest they've gotten for Batman. And maybe the alternate universe where they're bad guys. That's it. But they won't mess with Batman, Bruce Wayne, and show him lose it to the point where Superman, where Clark Kent has to really step his game up and outsmart Batman. They won't do it because it's humanism in the root of all.